Hey folks, Elaine Marolakos. I just stuttered on my own name. Elaine Marolakos Edelson. We're here today, last day of May. Can you believe it already? 2024. And this is your June Oracle reading. So please come say hello, come see what you've been creating. And I'm just organizing my cards on the deck. So here's what it looks like. You get to choose an oracle reading for yourself, and it can be sun, rising, or moon. These are fairy houses. I want you to tune in, take a nice deep breath, tune into what you feel you're drawn to the most. And you may not even have it assigned to anything. Maybe you're thinking, oh, it's for finances or health or relationships or my job, or I don't know, I'm just drawn to that one. Sun, rising, moon, whatever it is, just go for it. And that's tuning in to your intuition. We're going to be moving more toward developing intuition on this channel, and I want you to be part of it. So we're going to start with a solfeggio frequency. It's a 99 hertz, also called a 396. Take a nice deep breath. We're going to get right into it. Okay. So each of these images will have a deck associated with it so that you are aware. We have, for the first image right here, is the Oracle of the Seven Energies that Colette Reid is associated with the first deck. And for the second deck, we have a new deck for me. I'm very excited. And this is the Herbal Astrology Oracle by Adriana Ayales. That is for image number 2. I asked the decks, I tuned into the decks to see which fairy house are you associated with today. And then the third deck is, I have so much stuff on my desk. The third deck is associated, the third deck is associated with the Sacred Forest by Denise Linn. Sacred Forest Oracle. So I want you to tune into these and think about how you're feeling right now, how you would like to feel, and where you've been headed with your thoughts and your feelings. Because in doing these oracle readings the last Thursday of every month, unless I'm out of town or otherwise occupied, then you're developing a greater sense of, I'm creating my own reality. And that's what I'd like you to imagine, that you are creating your own reality, because that's how we do it, whether you're conscious of it or not. And as you do, there are going to be symbols and signs and things along the way that are resonating a frequency that are speaking to you. And so that's why I'm doing these types of images. So whatever, and you may not even resonate with any of them. That's okay. You can always come back another time. If you're watching this in Facebook or YouTube live, you can, or a replay, you can always come back, switch it up, and pick a different image. Okay, so just tune in right now to which one speaks to you the most. And I'm going to begin. So for those of you who have chosen house number 1, this cute little door in the tree, I'm pulling from Oracle of the Seven Energies, Colette Reid. Oops. Whoa. Okay. I guess we know which one that is. It is the number 33, ears wide open. Okay, this card is number 33, ears wide open, associated with the first fairy house. Now, this is an interesting card because if you look at the expression on this little guy's face, he's very intent on stuff, but what is he thinking about? Is it gossip? I want you to think about your style of communication lately. Are you caught up in drama, melodrama, constant interruptions? Like a typical scatterbrained, no offense, no judgment, a typical scatterbrained approach to, oh, I got to do this, got to do that, I left my list at home, but I've got to go shopping. Then I forget 3 things. I have to go back to the store. So if your ears are wide open, you're listening. And this card, if you chose Faery House number 1, it sounds like and it feels like you're needing to just settle down and start paying attention to what's happening deep within, how you're feeling. And it might be too that you're trying to force an issue for some people. It almost feels like if they would just hear me out. That's what I hear for some of you who are listening. And if people in the outside world are not hearing you or not responding to you the way you would like, then you need to turn inward and ask yourself, which part of myself am I ignoring? Am I hungry and not eating? Am I dehydrated? Am I sitting too long and my body needs to move and I'm not getting up? Am I moving so much that I'm not sitting still? Ears wide open. And again, his intensity, his expression is, I'm sorry for the green screen, but his expression is so intense. And it's about letting go, really, of the chatter and what you thought you should have said to that person, or how you should have acted, or what you could have done differently. We want to move away from the past, Faery House number 1, and we want to listen more to what's happening on the inside right now and connecting more to spirit. You're a vibrational creature. Everyone, everything has a vibrational frequency. And when you're tuned into it, then you align energetically with the things that your deepest heart desires are. When you're not, you're off balance. And then you start feeling like they're ignoring me, or they didn't hear me, or I said it 4 times. How many times do I have to say, clean up your room? It's like, if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. Multitasking. Yeah, it's put it down. There's no such thing as multitasking in a positive way. People may think, I have heard so many people say, oh yeah, I get that done. I get that done. I have a clipboard, I have a phone, I have a tablet, I have a computer, everything's open. I can really work it. Well, check in. How are your relationships right now? How is your health right now? How is your sense of self and connectivity right now? So I want to pull a clarifier for each of these. So ears wide open means start listening, not so much to the outside world, but to your inner self, the inner divine. You are a celestial, eternal, sentient being. What's the matter? You're the matter, and your matter is divine. So let me go to now the Whispering Woods, his cute little deck. And please share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Helps my info get out there in the world. Hi, Nicole. All right. So going with ears wide open for the Faery House number 1. Let me just, they're tiny and slippery. Let me just mix these up. Ooh. I feel like I'm in the middle of a forest. Here we go. Whoopsie. Okay, 2 cards came out together, all right? Now I've been mixing these up a lot. So they are very similar. So one is cleanse. This is cleanse. And oh, look at the images on these are so adorable. Little tiny creatures in the fairy forest. Cleanse. Wash your weary spirit clean and take a walk in the wooded glades. That is the advice if you chose number 1. And then clearing. So cleanse and then clearing. Make room for growth. And all the images are the same on the back of the card. Cleanse your spirit, take a walk in nature, and really get grounded. Start listening to the inner you. What is that about? What's happening with your sense of self? If you chose the Faery House number 1, imagine knocking on this little door and being welcomed inside a tree and how quiet and how peaceful. I would say right now, if you're facing any major decisions in your life, you need to get grounded in nature. Literally take your shoes off, go find, now people will say, oh, you can do it on concrete, but if the concrete has been treated, and most concrete is treated, you won't ground. So sand, earth, even if you have grounding sneakers or shoes, it's really important that you start tapping into the earth's energies right now for Faery House number 1. And during that time, you're going to start to get rid of the jitters and the have to's, the needs to, oh, I got to get that thing done, that email, that it's a hyperactive state of being. And the frequency is so high, you know, you're in alpha, beta, and you want to get closer to theta. And a theta wave is like just before you fall asleep. So that would be meditation. That would be a walk in the woods if you're near an ocean. If you live in a big city and there's a lot of concrete, find a park. Take your shoes off, put your feet in the grass for 5 minutes. You will connect to the earth immediately, and the rewards are countless. You're a nature being. Time to get grounded. Because ears wide open means you need to start listening to the inner to connect to your spirit and your soul. I hope that was helpful. All right, we're going to move on to house number 2, número 2. And, you know, when I chose these decks and just aligned which deck felt like it went to which image, this one, the Herbal Astrology Oracle, which I haven't used yet. I just got it recently. And Adriana Ayales, artwork by Joséphine Klerks. It really was so drawn, like it was like, that's it, number 2. This is the deck for number 2. Okay, great. Let's mix it up and see what we have. How's everyone doing today? Come say hello to me if you're watching this in a replay. Please remember to share, like, subscribe, tuning into Faery House number 2, and that looks like a little baby butterfly on top of that really sweet house. Ah, and I see it now. There's the door right there. And that looks like the window shade. Okay. Oh, all right. And I'm very much into herbs, always have been all my life. My father taught me from the beginning, you know, chamomile and comfrey and blending certain things and using, you know, mugwort and mullein for ear infections, or lungwort for lungs, nettles, increasing energy, stamina, digestive issues, also testosterone. So I was very excited to get this deck. And oh, okay, I have never done ayahuasca. And I'm not saying that you should go out and do ayahuasca. But what I'm saying is that number 50 came out, ayahuasca, rebirth. So this is interesting for this deck to align with this house because a metamorphosis occurs with butterflies, and that is a rebirth. So I'm going to have to go to the book on this one. Oh, look at that. It's got astrological symbols on it. Don't we like that? Yes, we do, up at the top. And we have Jupiter, and there's what else do we have? I can't see it from here. Pluto. Jupiter, Pluto, Neptune. Well, Jupiter and Pluto are making an alliance pretty soon. We're going to have a whole lineup starting on June 3rd. And it's a planetary procession. You're going to want to stick around for that. Next week, we're going to talk about that. But this particular card is talking about, well, Jupiter is expansion, and Pluto deals with core transformation, just TNT for the psyche. If you chose this particular fairy deck, Faery House, the herb deck is recommending ayahuasca, not for you to take it, but to embody the energy of it. And that can mean, it's actually called, ayahuasca is called Banisteriopsis capi, and it has to do with the spirit vine. It is the connection that keeps you grounded to your body, but also opens you up to spirit. So ayahuasca is a traditionally, it's like a shaman vision quest. So if you're looking to solve an issue in your life right now, and you chose the Faery House number 2, what I find interesting is that you're looking, you could be looking in the wrong places. No, I don't usually say right or wrong. You must be some Virgos listening in. but the thing is to find the place of gestation. Where do you have transformation? Okay, in this image, they're very soft pastels, but there's a lot of faces in this image. And I also see a snake, and snake is all about transformation. And you can see at the bottom in the circle is the rebirth. There's the fetus, and what it's being fed by the elders is something from spirit. So what will feed your soul right now? What do you imagine would feed your soul right now? And if you, and I have to go to the book, it did not come out in reversed, because they do have a reversed. Mastery, great revelation, discovery of higher self, meeting with the creatrix, divine messengers, gifts from spirits, realization, telepathy, and transcendence. So if you chose house number 2 with the butterfly, which is all about transformation, then I think it's really important that you check in. Different than the first oracle house, Faery House, that is getting grounded in the earth so that you can connect to your inner. Hey, Christy's here. This is a brew. Now, you might be able to pick up some of this herb online, not to have a psychotropic effect. Please, disclaimer alert. Please do this in a healthy way. But just like you might take a kava drop or tea, find something that helps you to calm, to tune into all the vibrations. If you're about to make a huge change, you're about to buy a house, end a career, begin a new one, change jobs, ask for a promotion, have that heart-to-heart with someone you love or care about, a friend, a family member, a lover. If you know, this rebirth is all about being vulnerable. And this herb, really known, oh, see, and it even says Banisteriopsis capi is the vine, and Psychotroia viridis is the anchor to your soul and your spirit. So, and I'm not saying go out and get some edibles and have a trip. What I'm saying is there's a part of you that is needing and wanting to connect to the divine in you. So if you chose this house number 2, I would say anything that leads you toward transformation in that sense of, I feel connected from the inside out, but I also feel in tune from the outside in. That is intuitive training. That is honoring body, mind, spirit connection, because the body and mind connection helps when you align that, it helps spirit to come through. Similar to the first, but the first one felt more, you got to just get quiet and listen. This house here with the butterfly on it is feeling more, and I'll get a clarifier in a second, but it's more about what is rebirth to you. Every moment is a rebirth when you do something new, when you train your patterns. And having experienced neuroscience the past few years and studied some, we all operate on habitual patterns based on the first two people we've ever met in our lives who had a hand in raising us. That could be your parents, could be grandparents, it could be a single parent with a grandparent. So how you relate to your masculine, feminine self, regardless of gender or not, or it doesn't matter if you're non-binary or however you present yourself. But rebirth is looking at the moment and saying, I have an urge to do that. Whenever you have an urge or an urgency, that's a pattern triggering you to react. When, however, you know that about yourself, that's when you can make the change in the moment. And I always recommend what I learned from a neuroscientist. When you're in that moment where you're just like, I want to react so badly, but I have to change a pattern. I'm ready for my rebirth. You can do a couple of things to create a pattern interrupt in your brain. The brain doesn't know what's real or imagined. It just knows what you feel and what you're thinking. That's it. And it creates its own mystical reality that sometimes feels like, endless taxi cabs, screeching brakes, and crashing metal, or whatever. It's whatever you create. So to stop that, to stop the brain, because a negative thought is a constant. That's the amygdala saying, be safe. So it takes 3 positive thoughts. This is a fact. It takes 3 positive thoughts to counteract 1 negative thought. So if you're in a moment of transformation, you have to do something different. Now, you may not be able to clap your hands 5 times in the middle of something with a group or a person. But if you're on your own and your head's going around in circles and it's like, and I said that and they said that. Oh, wait, is that how I want to create my next reality? My next moment is based on that vibration? So you can break that pattern, clap your hands 5 times, jump up and down 5 times if you can, or burst into songs for 5 seconds. In any song, doesn't matter. Happy birthday. La, 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 whatever. Just 5 seconds. It's a pattern interrupt. And in that space, you then incorporate something present and positive that is neutral. I'm grateful that I have really comfortable shoes. I'm grateful for how soft my pillow is. I am so grateful for this cup that I love that has look at that. The green screen is making my cup very magical and invisible. I'm grateful for something in the moment, and that will stop those neurons from firing the old frequency. And when you do that, and I'm going to pull a clarifier, you have a rebirth. Every moment you can have a rebirth, and then you change the pattern and then do something positive, neutral to positive, and then keep repeating the neutral to positive, the pattern interrupt, the neutral to positive. Tell yourself you're grateful for something, and you will then create a new frequency and a new set of neurons, and the rebirth can happen instantaneously. Listen, folks, whether you picked whatever house or all 3, you don't have to leave the earth and come back. You can do it every moment. You can start a life every moment. Okay. So this is fun because also 2 came out, and I don't know what. Okay, forbearance was one of them. If you chose house number 2, and you got the ayahuasca rebirth card, you got forbearance. forbearance, and that is, do not be deterred by the thorn amidst the roses. So we don't want to get stuck on what didn't happen, isn't happening. You want to change that pattern to have that rebirth. And the second card is to reconnect. I love this. Reconnect. And it says, secrets lurk in the captive shadows deep in the woods. Another wood card. Well, it is the whispering woods. So find the inner woods to have your rebirth. And I think that you'll be very pleased by the whole experience. Let me just check in. Hi, Christy. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to deck number 3, which is this house right here, if you chose this house. And thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I'm getting to know my new computer and all the things I have to reset right before I'm ready to do something. All right. The Sacred Forest Oracle, Denise, Linn. And let me just, they're really pretty cards. I know, green screen. Okay. Remember, the frequency that you're vibrating right now is going to create your next moment. What you feeling? And regardless of whatever you're feeling, I was you yesterday, I am you today, or I will be you tomorrow. So no judgment. Be kind to yourself. Okay, if you chose the third fairy house, I'm kind of digging the third fairy house. I like that one. I'm going to pick that one. It's almost like a hobbit home. Whee! Okay. Ooh. Ah. Spirit guardian of autumn. And this is a number 35. And 35 equals an 8. A 3 is inner communication, perceptions before you open your mouth to speak. And 5 is transformation. And so, and I love autumn. For me, it's like I was just having this conversation with a cousin of mine. I said, what's your favorite season? And she said, oh, I used to love that. Now I think I appreciate all of them for different reasons. And I said, autumn, hands down for me, autumn. Autumn, to me, everything gets quiet. And I am able to be that much more creative, whether it's writing or baking or just feeling more myself. If you chose the third house, and in the Sacred Forest, we have chosen 35, which is the spirit guardian of autumn. This is all about letting go. And that can be where, practically you would prune if you're in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, it would be spring. But in the northern hemisphere, you would prune your trees and garden and all that. And you would clean things up, clean out your closets, make donations, get quiet, and really ruminate over, okay, I am preparing for winter. Now, winter is often thought of as a hibernation period. But in hibernation comes a very profound transformation, because that's when you go within to figure out, I want to change something big time. So what is it that you want to change? Or maybe you're already in the midst of letting something go. And this can deal with people too. You might be shedding. If you are already in the midst of transformation, you're shedding a vibration or a series of vibrations that would have normally attracted certain type of people to you. And now you're liminal. Liminal is between two worlds, and autumn can show you what to clean out. And it doesn't mean what you're about to let go of or leave behind is not valuable. If it deals with people, it doesn't mean they're not kind. It doesn't mean that, you've had it, you're up to here. It doesn't mean that. It can for some. But if you're letting go of something in an autumn state, You're just like leaves from a tree. It's time to shed what no longer serves you. And that's anything in your house. That's any vibration, starting with you, any vibration that you would normally, let's say you go to a dinner party and you meet somebody and your old way was to be, oh, hi, how are you? This is me. This is me. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And you do the old thing, and then you will attract the same person. But now that you're mindful that you're in a transformative place, feels a little different than the first two, although everything's transformation. This is letting go. Number 2 was rebirth. And what was number 1? Oh, ears wide open. So the first one is grounding. The second one is really getting into patterns. And the third one is actually shedding them. So if you chose all 3, there's a whole method for you. So letting go is blessing what has come that no longer will be carried forward. So let's say you're letting go of friends and you think, I just don't have that same, like the fairy glamour is gone. You know, I used to hear from them and go, oh my God, hello. And now it's like, oh, hi. And then it becomes, I hope they're well. And that's okay. Because if you're resonating a different frequency than something or someone else, or even, you know, I've got like crystals all over my desk, and here's one that my doctor gave me, and fluorite, and I love purple and green, and she thought of this and she gave this to me as a gift, and I said thank you so much, and it sits on my desk now. 5 years, 6 months, 10 years from now, I may look at it and say, I'm complete with it. That was such a beautiful memory, and I love the stone, but I think someone else could use it more. So when you're ready to let go of things in an autumn phase, according to this card, letting go. Let me just read what she has. Relinquish control and let spirit take over. You don't need to do everything yourself. Oh, I like that. And whatever in your life doesn't serve you, clear the clutter. I mean, it's very simple and straightforward. So clearing the clutter, I'm going to pull a little tiny card. Clearing the clutter, if you chose deck Faery House number 3, has to start with how you think, who you be, how you are, how are you? And it's like saying, I used to do that. And coming back to that same example where you meet some people at a dinner party, now you're going to sit back a little bit more and listen to who they are and see if you vibe. See if you vibe with that thing instead of jumping to a conclusion that the previous you would have made. Like, I love turtles. I have turtles all over my house. I have turtles in my aquarium. I have turtles outside. I have a real turtle. And then you go somewhere and you see a turtle sweater and someone goes, don't you love it? Don't you want it? I will get it for you for Christmas. And you're thinking, I think I'm complete with turtles. Bless them. I release them. So you want to get into that feeling state. Everything starts with a feeling. Everything starts with a vibration. Everything that you create in your world. And don't think you haven't created poverty consciousness, because you have. And now if you want to get out of it, you can say, I am going to go into the autumn of my spirit and shed some leaves. And before I start planting anything new, I want to get clear on what it is that I need, because you're moving toward a winter phase after that. And you could do it in 20 minutes. Doesn't mean it's going to last for 3 months. Whoopsie. Ooh. Okay. So you're on, oopsie. Oh my gosh. These cards are like jumping out at this one. And it's time and path, by the way. I'm fumbling with them because they're slippery. Time. This is for the 3rd fairy house. Time. Embrace in the dewdrops of life before they disappear with the morning sun. That means be present. That means be present so that you know what you're going to be letting go of. And then the second one was path. Wander on the path less traveled. What you find might surprise you. So if you're ready to make that change and move out of liminal, a foot in two worlds, and that has a lot to do, you might hear people talk about 3D, 4D, 5D consciousness. Well, 3D is poverty. 3D is perpetrator and victim. And so if there is a part of you that has already healed that, but yet there's just a little bit of residue that comes your way where someone says, "What? You charge what? I'm not, huh? Bah. Oh, okay. It's how you react or respond that shows you if you've cleared it. If you get defensive and go, well, I work really hard. And even though I'm a freelance artist, or even though I work 9 to 5 and weekends, and I deserve that pay raise or that bonus. I mean, if you get defensive, you haven't cleared poverty consciousness. If someone isn't meant for you in business, let's just say, and you cross paths, and in the passing, they say, "What do you do?" And you say, I do this thing. And they say, I don't, wow, that's how much you charge? Oh my gosh. And you can say, well, there's also other versions. There's free, there's, less investment, there's whatever you need, because you're not attached to it anymore. And when you're not attached to something, you've healed poverty consciousness. Ta freaking da. And I'm just excited for the time frame that we're in. And when I look at this third house and I think, okay, if you chose this third house and you're looking at changing something big, the way you approach health, that's your body, right? The way you approach, of course, it's your mind telling you, oh, I don't need that extra package of donuts, and I'm not going to eat anything that has folic acid in it because that is a Monsanto product and has caused so much harm. You're going to start researching then. I don't know why this sprang up. Some people might be focused on health, but when you go into like your quiet study, the quiet den in autumn, and you think, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to eat that anymore. I don't believe in that. It's not that you're going to come out and proclaim it to other people and say, hey, let's sign this petition. Do you know that this thing can cause this harm? You're not doing that. You're letting go of what you used to believe, and you're changing your mind. And as you do that, as I said, for all of these houses, they're almost similar, but in different lengths of order. And I like to say that wisdom comes from knowing the order of things. So when you get quiet and you chose this, and maybe, if you chose Faery House number 1 for relationships, or Faery House number 2 for health, and Faery House number 3 for business, if you did it like that instead of sun, rising, and moon, I want you to really think about what is the intention behind this particular house for you. When you looked at it, what spoke to you? Something in you spoke to you. I am all the Klerks. Clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant, whatever they are. I forget all the names. But it's like you will get an immediate hit on, or an impulse on, that spoke to me. Now I want you to explore that and make it bigger, because that's your portal. That's the door to your inner transformation. Does that make sense? Because it really feels like door number 3. Who remembers Monty Hall? And let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. You're ready to transform something by getting quiet, by going inward, and almost feeling like the temperature around you is the same temperature as your body, is the same temperature as what you drink and the food that you eat. Everything is neutral. And in neutrality, you can begin to shed without grief, without guilt, without regret. And I picked this one, didn't I? I did. I have to come back and listen to what just came through me. All right. This was fun. Let me just check in with people. Christy. Oh my God, hon. You just blew my mind. Well, mind blown. Mic dropped. And here we are. We are ready to be more present. And I wanted to go further. Time is an issue right now. But I want you to realize that on June 3rd, there is a lineup of planets: Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. You can look up into the night sky. With Neptune, however, or Uranus, you need a telescope, or you need to be away from a big city. Fortunately, I am. I hope there is no clouds. I want to look. I want to look up and see the planetary progression. Now, it's different than a syzygy. If you are into astrology, a syzygy is also a lineup of planets, 3 or more. That also involves often an eclipse. But this lineup is representational of where you're aligning. What are you aligning to? Mars is momentum. In astrology, the sun is the focus. Mercury is the perception and the beliefs that create the communication, the chitty chat. Then there's Venus, and that is the harmonization of your worth and security and beauty. People always make Venus, they like, oh, it's romance. I'm going to give you a love reading. Love yourself. Done. Check that box. The love reading is done. Then everything else comes to you. How you make your money with Venus, and how you perceive protection, how you want to protect others or life around you, how to harmonize these things. And then there's Mars. Mars equals your momentum. It represents, it doesn't cause your momentum. Represents. The planets represent a different part of you. That's it. Jupiter is expansion. Now, it can deal with publishing. It can deal with, just like Mars can be, war or artillery or autos or mechanical things. Jupiter is expansion. What are you expanding on? Saturn is who's the boss of you. It is authority. It is devout piety toward a spiritual practice or ritual. Uranus is the revolutionary. So when you look at all of these planets, align yourself to the sun. My focus right now, perception, is changing my mind. Venus. I don't think Venus is in this lineup, but I'm just going to give it to you anyway. How am I harmonizing how I think and feel about how I look, how I treat myself, how I earn, how I save, and how I value my worth? Mars, what's my momentum because of those things? Jupiter, where would I like to expand next because of that lineup? Uranus, Saturn, how would I like to organize a framework, an architectural framework to put my new stuff into? My thoughts, my momentum, my feelings, my self-worth, my finances, my expression. And then Uranus, so that I can blow my own mind and then blow somebody else's mind and create a vibrational frequency that heals. And there we have it. And there you have it. So we will be back. When is that? 31, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the 6th. And I have, check back on my Facebook page, because I will post what I'll be talking about every Thursday. I'm not here on the 27th of June because it's my husband's 68th birthday. I just turned 64. He's going to be 68, and we're going to just celebrate for a couple of days. So I won't be here. So I'll be doing the the next oracle reading the 3rd week in June instead of the 4th week. All right, folks. Thank you for being here. Thank you for putting love into the world. I so appreciate you. So there's so much love from my heart to yours. Go have a happy day. Go make some memories. Be somebody's opportunity. And I will see you next week.